because once I have full control, that will help me in the 100. I mean, part of my reason why I'm struggling in the 100 is my reaction time as well, because I'm also thinking about too much right in the blocks, and then the gun goes off, and then I'm always 5% out the blocks.
Yep.
And but yeah, every time I'm in the turret, I'm always leading.
And that's really the key, right? Is to get in with the right people or the right coaches.
It's very important. If you don't have the right people, if you don't have the right, just the right staff, if your mic's not right, all those little things are important. Because I already know, like we talked before, like I got hurt in 2019, like we were talking before, and subconsciously when I pull my hamstring, like that's stuck in my head. It's just weird. It's like a glitch, it's like in my head, like I'm waiting, and then I'm like, okay, I'm fine right here.
Yep.
But then I just need to get rid of that, subconscious feeling in my head, and then I can just keep going and push it.
Welcome to another podcast of You Must Be Out of Your Mind. I'm your host, Don Wood, and I'm going to be taking you through and talking to you about the mind and how the mind works. As you know, we bring on special guests to sort of share their experiences and what they are doing with our program, but as well as what they're doing in their lives and careers. I have a special guest. I know you're going to love to talk to this guy. This is amazing. An incredible athlete. He's a silver medalist for the 200 meter for the U.S. track and field team. He's got all kinds of stuff going on this summer. We're going to share what he's doing and share a little bit about him going through our TIPP program and how that can help him coming up into the World Championships. So I'd like to welcome Kenny Bednarek.
Hey Don, how you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. Just working every day and trying to get ready for World Championships this summer.
You are doing a lot of training, right?
Yes, every day from 9 to 12:30, 1. It kind of varies. Depends on what the coach wants. But yeah, it's very, very tough training every single day. So far, we have no days off. We have Sunday and Saturday. We're still training those days. I just got lucky this past week just to have a day off on Saturday. But yeah, every single day we're grinding it out, and this heat is not making it any easier.
For sure. So Kenny came in here today after working out. So what happened today? What was going on for you today?
Today I just had, I would say it would have been easier if it wasn't so hot, but I had 250 meters to run, also with 150 and then 250 meters starts. Just working on my form and technique and going all out, max velocity with my body, and it was a tough day. I didn't go as fast as we usually do, but I think today was more of a volume work for lactic acid in the body. So I had a good day though.
So your specialty really is the 200 meter, right?
Yes, the 200, but the 100 I'm dabbling in because I'm good at it, but I can also get better. I need to work on my block starts. Those have been kind of holding me back a little bit in the 100, but in the 2, yeah, that's my specialty.
Yeah. So you just finished the trials, right, for the team?
World Championship trials, so USA champs for us. I was like last week. And yeah, I went in for the 100 meters and the 2, and I ended up getting 8th or 9th in the 100. Wasn't my best performance, but considering what happened early in the year, I was happy to have that. Make it to the finals and run the 9:98 at the end. With the 200 meters, I did pretty well in there. I got 4th. Still kind of the same thing, not my best performance, but like I said, just from what happened to the beginning of the year till now, the progression-wise has been good, and I came out healthy and I made the team.
Excellent. Well, that was why we met, right? So the idea was you go to see Dr. Sorchi, who works with you physically on
make sure to keep my body right. Chiropractic, very good at what he does.
Yeah. And so we're good friends. We know Dr. Sorchi. So he contacted me and said, get together with Kenny. I think it could really be a benefit to him. So we're now starting to work together. And
I'm loving it so far.
Are you?
Yep. Yeah. It's making me think about a lot of the things that I've been thinking about subconsciously in the past. And I think it's going to be very beneficial for me from now into Worlds and, so far in daily life.
Yeah, because it works on all of that.
Yeah.
So it's a performance, as everybody knows if they listen to the podcast. The idea is the name of the podcast, You Must Be Out of Your Mind, right? So your mind has been working a certain way for a long time. We basically want to reset and update the way the mind works. And so what we were doing with Kenny was taking him through the entire program. The World Championships are coming up in another couple weeks or so, almost 3 weeks.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
It's coming up quick.
Yeah. So the idea is we're going to check back in, and hopefully we have a couple gold medals or something.
Yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully, I get to be on the relay, and if we do everything right with handoffs, we should get a gold medal easy. But that's been our biggest problem with the handoffs, as you already know. But for the two, yeah, I'm gonna gun for that gold medal. I was close last year for the Olympics, so I think this year I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. So in the Olympics in Tokyo, you won the silver,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. First time being in Tokyo. Didn't really know what to expect, and we had COVID going on. So one thing about traveling right now is that the restrictions everywhere. So it was cool to be out there. Very exciting moment. One thing I was down about is I didn't really get to actually go inside the city and actually experience the different culture. But I know I'll get time to actually do that next time I get over there. But yeah. Being in the village, prepping just for the big race, going through the rounds, it was a crazy experience.
Awesome. Now you mentioned something about a handoff. So people who don't understand what you mean by handoff in the relay, right? So you've got 4 men,
Yep.
right, running. So tell us what happens in a handoff.
So you got 4 men, 4 by 100 meters. Each person runs 100 meters from the 400 meter to the finish line, and you got the baton. And you got to make sure to get through the exchange zone and hand it off to the guy with a nice clean handoff. All of that is crucial. Doesn't really matter how fast of a person you got in the race, because if you end up missing the handoff, you can take seconds off. So all of that is very crucial. So we got to make sure to have a training camp just so we have all those working well, and you got to have chemistry with all the other athletes. And if you don't have chemistry and all that, then nothing's gonna happen.
So from what I understand happens is as you're running towards your teammate, they have to start accelerating as you're handing it off, right?
Yep. It depends. You got to figure out when you need to take off, because not everybody is the exact same speed. So when they hit a certain mark, that's when you're cue to go. But then you have to make sure that you get the batons within the exchange zone. So I forgot, there's like a triangle right in the beginning that you pass, and then there's another one which is the end of the exchange zone. You got to make sure to time everything correctly and smoothly, and then you hand off the stick, and then you keep going, and it goes to the next person.
Right. So a dropped baton is a lost race, right?
Yeah, drop baton is a lost race. You're done. You can't really do it. You can pick it up, but at the end of the time you go and pick it up, you gotta re-accelerate, and you're already done. There's no catching everybody that's already at max velocity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's 4 people in the race. When you run in a relay, where are you typically running in that? What leg are you running?
For me, I used to be last going into high school and college, but now that I'm on the pro level, I haven't really been able to run with these guys because there's a lot of politics going on when you get up to this level. Every athlete is fast, and all the coaches want to make sure to get their athletes in. So, a bunch of politics. But for me, I think the best spot would be first or third, just because when I run my 200 meters, my turn is one of the best in the world right now. I don't know why. Like the 100-meter start is different for me. Like I struggle with my start there, but once we are on the turn for the 200, everything just clicks for some reason, and I just run the heck out of that turn, and I'm always leading the race most of the time. So for me, it would be first or third, because I think that would be the best spot for me to do what I'm good at, and it's I don't know, like best position to help the team.
Yeah, because when I watched some of your races, that's what I saw is on that turn. You looked like you had another gear.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all a whole mental thing too, and that's another reason why I'm working with you. So I make sure that I have full control of everything I do, because once I have full control, that will help me in the 100. I mean, part of my reason why I'm struggling in the 100 is my reaction time as well, because I'm also thinking about too much right in the blocks, and then the gun goes off, and then I'm always the last person out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And but yeah, every time I'm in the turn, I'm always leading.
So perfect. So that's our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't run it at your kind of level, but in high school, I was for a white guy, I was a 10-400 meter in high school, which is okay.
10-4? That's pretty good.
In high school.
At 5'6"?
That's pretty good.
5'9".
Oh yeah.
5'6". But so my actual best was I jumped out of the blocks. I was really good out of the blocks. I didn't have to kick at the end. So I sort of had to hold on.
That's something that's common for a lot of shorter sprinters, because for me, since I'm so tall, it's harder for me to get a certain angle that smaller athletes have to be explosive out of the blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, like Usain Bolt, I want to say he had the best start in the world, but he just had a good enough start where he's with everybody, and that's all he needed. And that's the thing that I need to work on. If I can just get out with them, then the rest I could do. It'd be easy part. But right now, the hard part is just the beginning. So a lot of short sprinters have it easy just because their body's already so low to the ground. And once they get out of the blocks, the angles that they have, it's a lot more beneficial for them than me, because it's hard for me to get those same angles with the longer legs I got.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was sort of the same way in hockey, because I had that sort of lower center of gravity. I could pick that speed up really quickly.
Yeah.
And that was really hard, especially for the bigger guys. If all of a sudden I just put on a burst, they couldn't turn fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing. I feel like a lot of shorter sprinters have a struggle with maintaining it. Like, right, they can get out as fast as they can, lead the race, but a lot of them have trouble with maintaining. So if they can maintain it, then they consistently run those fast times every single time they step on the track. And speaking of like smaller people, they all got advantages. We all got advantages for being small or big. Football players, when you have to have that leverage to pick up the lineman or whatever. It was for me when I was playing football and I had to play outside linebacker for a special play. It was just hard because like I would always have somebody that was smaller than me, and then like he would pick me up, but then I can't really do anything because I can't get underneath him and pick him up from his pads and up. So everybody has their leverage, being small or big. It just depends. Everybody can work on all that, but it's just hard. So like for me, blocks right now is just the one thing that I need to get down, because like I said before, once I get that down, then the rest of the race is going to be easy for me.
And I think that the key to that is keeping your mind quiet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because right now is just I think a little bit too much. I get in my own head.
Yeah, and that's going to interfere with you being able to really get out of the blocks quick, because your mind is using energy.
Exactly.
Right,
Yep.
And that's the energy you need for that explosiveness coming out.
Like my coach says, less is more. So.
Yeah, it's funny in hockey too when you're talking about lifting up, right? The best fighters in hockey were the smaller guys, because we could punch up.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
And you could actually do a lot more damage punching up than you can. The bigger guys punching down didn't have the same leverage.
I've never actually watched hockey, but what is the whole thing with them getting in fights? How's that? What's the rule with that?
It's really interesting, because it's always been in hockey. They've never taken it out of hockey. But I think it's actually, it sounds crazy, but it's actually a good release, because it allows sort of that frustration to get out if somebody has sort of got to that point where you don't want people using sticks because they're carrying weapons, right?
Yeah.
And so it was considered cheap if you used a stick to sort of get at somebody. But if frustration levels built, they would just duke it out, go sit in the penalty box for 5 minutes. Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's always been a part of hockey, and no matter what, they've never taken it out. And
interesting.
And it provides some excitement in the game. People love it.
Yeah, that's actually interesting.
Yeah, and they don't do it in football, because I think we've got they got so many pads on it.
Yeah, so many pads. I mean, once you see somebody hitting somebody, then they're off the field and they're suspended a couple of games.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. I saw it. I see it all the time, but I never actually understood it. So that's why.
You got to go to a hockey game and watch it.
Yeah, I got to at least watch one.
Yeah.
I've been to football. I haven't been to hockey. I've been to one basketball, and I feel like I need to watch baseball to appreciate that a little bit more. But it'll happen one day.
Yeah. Cool.
Blood flowing, all that stuff. So we did that, and it was pretty interesting. But like my respect for boxing went way up after I did that, because I didn't realize how hard it was until I actually did it.
Right.
And this is crazy. Like every sport, is hard in its own way.
Well, when I was in school too, I'm sure you had the same thing. When you're in school, they want you on every team, right? Because if you're good athletes, they're trying to put you on every team.
They try to get me to. One coach tried to get me to do wrestling. I couldn't do it.
Oh, I did wrestling. You think boxing stuff?
I know
a
wrestling.
6-minute round in wrestling is the most exhausted I've ever been in my life.
I know the training is
crazy.
I remember when I would go before I leave the gym, I would like see the room where they're cranking up the heat.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, doing whatever they're doing. I would open up. It's like, oh. And then, like I said, the guy tried to get me. And the main reason I said no is because right after, you know, wrestling was track season, and, you know, you got to cut down weight or gain weight. And I was like, I can't tamper with my body like that, because I already knew track and field was going to be the thing that was going to be my main focus. It was either track or football. And I had to make the sacrifice, you know, pick one. And I decided to go with track because I was excelling in that more than football. Like I think I was pretty good at football. You know, I had a few schools that wanted me, but I already knew track was the safer route. And when I actually met Dr. Paul, I actually have one of the vertebrae here missing. So he was saying, like, if I got
probably
hit,
good you didn't play
he
football.
literally saying if I got hit, you know, just the right way, I could have been paralyzed. And I was like, I didn't even know that, you know.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
So yeah, interesting. So when did you make the switch to just say I'm going to just go track? How old were you?
Well, I was doing football all the way up until senior year, and my junior year, I was kind of contemplating whether to quit or not. And it was more just the reason. It was like, you got one of the fastest kids in the country, and our system wasn't really. I was a wide receiver, so our system wasn't really throwing me the ball. More play action and, you know, letting running. So I was kind of felt like I was wasting my time. But I ended up staying, and we ended up winning state my senior year. So it's kind of like a fairy tale, like a, you know, dream come true to me. So it was just after that, just, you know, contemplating. And my junior year, I already kind of knew, you know, just the fact that I was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of wasting my time here. Let me just focus on track. Like, I already knew from then that it was going to be track.
Yeah. And then was you 100, 200 always, or did you do
I
any other
was
events?
kind of everything, 1, 2, 4. You know, when you're in high school and college, you kind of, the coaches kind of put you through everything because you got all that energy. You know, once you get older, you have to be more selective, because obviously you're gonna be more of a specialist. But yeah, I was 1, 2, 4, but mainly a 4-2 guy, and that's what I mainly did, the 4 and the 2, like my whole high school career, college career, and like I dabbled in the 100 a little bit. I didn't really make the transition in becoming a 1-2 guy until I met a coach here. So,
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I was in track in high school, not at your level, but the same thing they used to do. So the 100 was good for me. The 200 wasn't as good for me. But they'd make me run the 200. They'd make me run the 100-meter hurdles. They made me do the long jump, and I was not a good long jumper. You'd probably be a good long jumper.
I actually used to do long jump. I would say for high school I was good, but my technique was trash.
Was it?
Yeah, it was very bad. I remember just running out, kind of just like, you know, you got to plant your foot and jump. I would kind of just run through it and kind of do like a skip or something. So I did that. I also did high jump as well. But yeah, they never let me do hurdles, because for me growing up, I mean, even now I'm kind of a clumsy dude,
Right.
which is kind of weird because, you know, I'm an athlete at the highest level, and, you know, that this kind of sport, and like, you know, I'll trip or something over nothing.
Yeah.
So I can say in a way I'm uncoordinated. But yeah, just, you know, they wouldn't let me do the hurdles just for that reason. Like, oh, you probably, you know, do something dumb and then, you know, trip and then, you know, chaos.
Yeah, because you could really injure yourself.
Yeah, I've seen some of the injuries in there. It's bad.
Yeah, I never liked it. But like I said, when they take their best athletes and they run them in everything to try to win, but which not
points, yeah.
But it wasn't smart, because by the time I got to the finals in the hundreds, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't even really think about it like that too, because, you know, they make you do this, and then like now me looking back at it, I'm like, dang, they're like running you like a dog.
Yeah.
But then, like, again, you're a kid, so you got all that energy. I mean, you're going to be taxed, obviously, after all that, but it's like you got so much energy, and then the coaches are always like, we need to get these points, you're our best athlete, you know, this. And I feel like, you know, I mean, at any level, coaches are always going to be like that, you know. You got your best athlete, you want to win, and most of them, some have best interest, but some also, you know, just think about winning, you don't think about the athlete, so.
Yeah, they want to put up numbers on their board to make them look good.
Yeah, so, I mean, the important thing is when you go to college, and then, I mean, even at high school, you know, college, high school, or pro, you got to make sure you have the right person and make sure it's the right fit. And that's something that I had to learn in the beginning, coming out of, well, actually, I started with college, because I think in Yeah, high school I was pretty good. I had all good people around me. It's just when it came to college, I had all these coaches come to see me. And the vibes that were giving me, I didn't like this guy, I didn't like that guy, because I already could tell like their main goal is just to win.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to the junior college route just because of grades. I was lazy in college.
Right.
I was lazy in high school. I just wanted to focus on my sport. So I go home, do bare minimum homework, and I regret all that because I kind of regret it, but I also don't because I'm still here.
Right.
The route I had to take was different from others. I had to go to the junior college, even though I had all those schools that wanted to see me. I was thinking about commuting to Oregon, just before I had to go to college. But then, like I said, grades, and it was a lesson learned. So I went to the junior college route, and I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that went on with there, but I ended up getting through all that whole system, and and then it came to the pro. The pro. As soon as I popped off my fast times in college, I had agents, hitting me left and right, and I had to make sure to, weed out who, I didn't think was good for me, and I ended up finding the right person, and then now I'm here just training with a good coach, and just trying to get better.
And that's really the key, right? Is to get in with the right people or the right coaches.
It's very important. If you don't have the right people, if you don't have the right, just the right staff, if your mind's not right, all those little things are important. Because I already know, like we talked before, like I got hurt in 2019, like we were talking before, and subconsciously when I pulled my hamstring, like that's stuck in my head. So what we're me and you are trying to work on and not thinking about that, because that will help me in my 200. Because always you saw my race before, there's sometimes I'm running and I'm leading the race and I kind of just stay at that same pace. I don't know, it's just weird. It's like a glitch, it's like in my head, like I'm winning, and then I'm like, okay, I'm fine right here.
Yep.
But then I just need to get rid of that, subconscious feeling in my head, and then I can just keep going and push it. And I mean, there's been several times where I just say, all right, we're just gonna go. If I pull my hamstring, I pull it, and now it's the Olympics and Diamond League champs. That's when I literally was just like, okay, let's go get this. We got nothing to lose. Last race of the year or whatever, and I just ran, the heck out of the turn, and I maintained the lead, and I won.
Yeah.
But for us, we got to be consistent. So that's why I'm looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about, which is really good for people to understand, is that what Kenny, when we were talking and going through the program, I asked, have you ever had an injury? And you mentioned, yes, I had an injury.
Yeah.
And then I asked Kenny, I said, where did that injury occur on the race? And it occurred right at that turn, right after you'd made the turn. And that's when we saw that was when his times would start to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And what we talked about is, in your mind, it was trying to protect you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And actually subconsciously, you wouldn't consciously do that because it didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But your subconscious is survival based, and it's remembering the time you got injured and then trying to protect you.
And I thought that was crazy because when you were talking to us about that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I like the whole analogy where you're kind of like, it's science, and you got to think it's like technology, you say, when you say in the brain, it's more of a
glitch.
Yeah, glitch.
Yep.
And it's all data.
Yep.
So it's gonna keep going through the same thing, and all you gotta do is just cleaning out all that stuff. Get rid of the air or whatever, and just the way you think about it, I like it because it makes it simple. And I can totally understand. It all makes sense. If I just view my body as like a machine or a computer, all that makes sense. Get rid of the error, then I'm fine. Because you're gonna be focusing all your energy on trying to fix that error, and you won't be able to use the whole computer itself to make it all at 100% and maximize everything, which makes total sense. So
yeah, it's just like what I said. It's just a glitch. It's an error message. The mind is constantly doing Google searches. So when you're making that turn, your mind all the way along has been saying, what do we know about these kinds of races? What do we know? And what it does is when it gets to that point, it says, oh yeah, that's when we got injured, right? So we better hold up a little bit so we can make this turn without the injury. And then that changes your speed, right? But it's all subconscious, right?
Yeah.
And if anybody had asked you why it's happening, you wouldn't have known until we talked about the science behind it.
Exactly. And that's why the way you talk about it, it's all brilliant. I love it because I know it's going to help me out a lot.
Awesome.
So
So Kenny, one of the things I want to share, because this is really important for the audience to understand, is, you know, we watch U.S. track and field, watch the Olympics, and you see these guys, and you see the guy that comes in 8th place, and you go, oh, that guy really didn't run very well. That guy's probably the best athlete you've ever seen in your life,
yeah,
right? The level of competition and skill level when you get to where you are is so incredible. You're probably the best athlete probably anybody that had met you had known, right? When you get to that level, explain how difficult it is to be the best.
I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, you got to make sure. I mean, you got to change your life. I mean, with me, like I said, I got hurt, and then I signed a deal with Nike, and you know, I was still kind of doing the same bad habits I was doing because, you know, in college, you know, you're just a kid, don't know any better, you're trying to learn new things, and then going into pro, like how it was for me, you know, they gave me the money, and it's kind of like, okay, go figure it out,
Right.
which is obviously not good, but I ended up finding the right people and understanding more about diet and, you know, the mental health and, you know, everything, recovery and all that. And there's just a lot of things I had to give up. I had to change my diet, make sure to eat everything that was, you know, you're fueling your body like it's a car, so you put bad fuel in it, you're not going to, you know, the output is not going to be there.
Yep.
So, you know, I had to change my diet, had to change my mindset. You know, I can't be staying up until 1 to 2 in the morning like, you know, other kids are used to. You know, playing games or just, you know, chilling. You know, there's a lot of sacrifices. Can't really go out and, you know, hang out with my friends all the time late, can't party. Got to be very disciplined. And I mean, it's hard, but you know, the benefits is there. And I love it though, because, you know, it makes everything easier for me. And, you know, I'm all about my job, and I want to make sure that I'm consistent, and my goal is to be the best to ever do it when I get done.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's very difficult to be at that level. I mean, like I was just saying, I went to trials. I mean, even last year's trials was crazy, but I mean, I ran 9:98, you know, a sub 10 100-meter, and you know, there's only a few people that can do that in the world.
Yeah,
And that got me 8th place.
I know.
So, you know, just to be at that
Incredible.
level, it's just all these small things that you have to sacrifice will make a big difference in your sport.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people don't understand that, but then, you know, there's a few that actually do. I mean, I know there's a lot of like, you know, NFL players that kind of just do the same stuff and they get by, but they don't realize that they're not maximizing their potential. But yeah, it's very crazy.
Well, the reason I'm bringing that up is because for people out there watching, you see these guys perform at this level, and you realize how incredible an athletic, you know, person you are to be able to do what they do, plus all the sacrifices. And at the same time, the other thing that's interesting is the #1 movie right now in the country was Top Gun. Everything's about the United States right now. We're craving things about the United States. We want to go back to feeling like we're the best, like we have the skill, and that's what you represent for us. You know, so to watch you out there, right, representing the United States is such a great thrill for us.
Yeah,
right.
I'm definitely glad to be out there to represent the country and, you know, show out. You know, show that we're the best at what we do, and, you know.
We need that right now, especially with everything that's going on after coming out of COVID, all the things that are going on in the world, to have you out there representing and doing what you're doing, right? We just need all the encouragement. We want to encourage you as much as we can, help you as much. I'm honored to be working with you and figuring out how we can help you get to that next level. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you as well, because I think this is something that I talk about all the time, is we have moments in our life, and these are like little tiny moments, right, where everything changed, right? And there's those certain times. When I went to my son's wedding, I talked about that, is that the minute I saw him born was a moment that changed my life. We have those moments. I can imagine the moment for you had to be standing on that podium, right, representing your country, right, getting a silver medal. Tell me what that moment was like.
I mean, as soon as I crossed the finish line,
that may have been the moment.
I mean, that's when it started. I mean, there were several moments, but, you know, I crossed the finish line. I was kind of like, what just happened? So being able to stand on the podium and, you know, see myself get the medal when I saw the, you know, the jumbo screen that they got, it was an amazing experience, you know, because I had a goal to make the Olympics and, you know, get a medal. I mean, obviously I wanted the gold, but you know, getting the silver as I think I was 22. Yeah, 22. Amazing experience, goal accomplished, and just looking for the next one. But yeah, I was honored and grateful to be out there to represent the country and get a medal for us. But yeah, I didn't realize how much of an impact I had, in the U.S. and especially at home, because I just went home recently, about a month ago, and they're just crazy about me, and it was just like, wow, like I really left an impact. And it was also for the junior college kids as well, because for me, I guess I'm kind of a symbol right now for them, because it's not really common for a kid to go to into junior college and come, go pro right out of junior college, because it's just the equipment, the staffing, and the coaching is not going to be as good as the NCAA.
Right.
So it's a little bit harder to get to that level, and I made do with everything I had, and just kept grinding to make sure that I got my goal, and I came out. So I have kids left and right, kind of inspired a little bit of what I did, and there's always a sense where I know there's a thing where people are kind of ashamed when they go to the junior college route. Like me, when I found out I had to go, I was ashamed, because it's kind of like, well, okay, people are gonna think I'm stupid. I was a talented athlete, and I'm just gonna be another statistic and disappear. And I didn't want that to happen. So with any situation, I feel like anybody can get out of that situation. And I just being able to get out of junior college and inspire all the kids that are still going to junior college, I think it's good.
That's why I know you guys get opportunities and sponsors, but I always love to see, if you're a sponsor out there and you want to sponsor a good guy like that will represent your brand, this is the guy. He's got the whole message. He's got the great story, right? Overcoming, just like you said, coming from a junior college, going to the pros, right? Those are the kinds of stories that people need to hear. They need to inspire, a lot of people out there, and sponsors, are always looking for the right image.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think you present that right image.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So we look forward to what's going to happen at the World Championships, right? See where you're going.
I'm excited. Earlier this year I ended up breaking my toe, and I didn't really know what was going to happen with the season, and I just made sure to do everything right just to get back into form. And I was a little bit worried coming into the trials, but I listened to my coach, and I listened to my body, and I ended up making the team. And for me, it was kind of hard, because after what I did last year, you kind of want to build off of that. And then when I broke my toe, it was kind of like a reset, like, okay, I got to start over. But like I said, I made the team. All the hard work I did early on, making sure my toe is correct and everything, and just being able to make the team and just to train a few more weeks, I think is going to be, the thing that's going to spark everything for Worlds, and I'll be able to, get that medal.
And over the next few weeks, you're continuing working through our program that we just went through. So we did it, about a week ago, maybe? Yeah, and you're listening to the audio. So our goal is to be able to get, Kenny out of his mind the way it was working on that turn, so that you can perform at your highest level and see that kick come right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying, before the injury, it was kind of like when I was obviously younger, I was just running. But now, since I got hurt, it's kind of like, subconsciously overthinking, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? What if this happens? I need to get back to that state where I'm just like not thinking about anything, just flowing and going.
Yep, that flow state,
Yeah,
which
that
is
flow
what
state.
Alpha brainwave. So when you're in that dominant alpha brainwave state, the subconscious knows how to run.
Yep, exactly.
Right? All we had to do is get that glitch that had set up, because your mind wasn't trying to hurt you, wasn't trying to get you to slow up to not win the race. It was trying to protect against an injury. Pain is a very big motivator to try to stop the mind.
Hey, tell them about Tim Burke.
So
Tim Burke is a two-time world long drive champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Specimen. This guy's 6'6".
Another phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim Burke came to see us. He's a world long drive competitor, competes in those long drive championships. And he came in to see us. We took him through the same program, right? He goes a couple days later to compete in the first tournament of the year. And I saw on the Golf Channel that he had made the finals. So I texted him and I said, "How you feeling?" And he wrote back, "Alpha, baby, alpha." He was in alpha brainwave state. He won that tournament, won 2 of the first 3 tournaments of the year, and made the finals of every tournament.
Yeah.
So we're excited for you to see the same
I'm
things,
excited,
and we'll continue working with you, right, all the way through the worlds and on, right? So we got another Olympics coming up at some point,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Would like to see you.
We'll definitely be there. I'll make sure I'll be there. You know, the only thing that's going to stop me from getting there is me.
Yep.
You know.
Well, I think too, the important thing is how cool is it that you can motivate other people?
Yeah.
And other individuals that are like-minded to you.
Oh, I
and
think
give them that little.
So I'll ask you a question on that. So Kenny, if you could speak to people who are aspiring to do what you do, right? Speak to some people that you could make a difference in their lives. What would you say to them?
I'll tell them that to keep working. Anything is possible. You set your mind to it. I mean, obviously, for everybody, there's going to be ups and downs. But you know, you just got to stay the course, and you know, if you want to fulfill your dreams, you just gotta keep working for it. I mean, I really believe that if you work hard enough, you'll be able to reach your goal.
Yeah. So talent is part of it, but discipline and hard work is the rest.
I feel like talent is the easy part. The hard part and the messy part is, you know, the work ethic and all the other stuff. So, I mean, anybody can have talent, but if you don't do anything with that talent, you don't do all the extra stuff that's needed, then that talent's only going to take you so far. And you're going to fizzle out eventually.
Yeah. And what I love about it is you're open to working on the mind, because everybody would think, you know, 200 meters track and field is all about power and speed and training the body.
No, there's so many athletes like that. I don't really know much about track and field because I've never really I watched the Olympics and, you know, seen Usain Bolt, Johan, all those people, but I was never the type. I wasn't like a super track fan where I'd be like, oh, let's see this, all the you know, the stats and all the other stuff. So when I went pro, like I'm finding out, you know, besides Usain and, you know, all the other big names I knew, I'm finding out who this person was, who that person was, because I'm like, I don't know who these people are. But all these people, like, used to be so good, or there's, you know, some of them are still running, like this girl named Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. She's Jamaican, and she's like 30-something right now, and she's, like, you know, at the top of her game right now. So I just found out who that person was, you know, last year, because, you know, she went to Olympics, and she was running crazy, and she ended up getting a medal. But what I was trying to say is that, my brain.
So about people who've overcome.
Oh yeah. There's just so many athletes, like if they don't get their mind right.
Yeah.
You know, when they're in college, they're on top of the world, but once they go pro and they got all the other stuff they got to deal with, then they always end up, like, you know, disappearing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many athletes that I've been finding out, you know, this year, last year, and maybe in the future, like, oh yeah, that guy used to be so cold, or he used to run so fast and stuff like that. I'm like, what happened? They're like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's all in the mind. You know, I see so many people, like even some of my teammates, you know, they're running fast at practice, but it's just the mental that they need to get right, because when they run, you know, practice, you can do whatever you want at practice, but once you get to the event itself, you got to make sure everything's aligned, and you got to make sure their mind is right. If it's not right, it doesn't matter how fast you're in practice. You're not gonna do it when it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, when it gets into competition, it changes the way the mind works.
Exactly.
So the key is to be able to get that under control and have the control over the way your mind works, and it changes everything. So one of the things that, if you remember in our program, we talked about atmospheric conditions, the things that have happened in your life, right, that affects the way your mind has been working. So if people have had a lot of, you know, past trouble in their lives or trauma or whatever, that will have an effect on their mind. But the whole point of that story was to talk about sometimes there's things that are out of sight of your control. So even if you look at in terms of your atmospheric conditions where you really didn't feel like you wanted to spend as much time working on school, right? If you could talk to your younger self now, right? You could sit down with young Kenny. What would you tell him?
Oh, I tell him to study and do everything he needs to do. I mean, like I said, I'm grateful to be in the position where, because I still got to, even going out of JUCO, but it would have made everything a little bit easier for me, because the fact is, if I ended up going to the NCAA, you know, my transition from college to pro would have been a little bit easier. And, you know, when it comes to contracts and, you know, coaching and all that stuff, it can make a big difference whether you come out of junior college or college, because it's kind of like in this business, kind of like who you know. And when I went to the junior college, there was a coach of mine that I wanted to stay with him. But the shoe company, Nike, was like, we don't know who this dude is, and we're not going to pay you if you don't go over here with this coach. It's kind of who you know. And, and it makes sense because, they want to invest money in this athlete, and they don't want to take the risk. And you're like, hey, okay, we're going to give this money, you can stay with coach, but we don't know who your coach is. So, they're going to take a risk and be like, okay, what if he fizzles out or something like that? Which is understandable, but, wasn't the ideal situation that I wanted, but, it was out of my control. But I feel like if I went to the NCAAs, it would have been a smoother transition because everybody knows each other from the whole system and the shoe companies, and it wouldn't have been as tough of a transition because I feel like the contract would have been different, the contract situation would have been a little bit different, and just finding a coach, I think I wouldn't have been as I would have been less scared about the whole situation because for me it was kind of like, okay, I got this coach I like, but y'all trying to send me over here to some dude I don't know, into a place that I don't know. I'm going to Florida, from Iowa to Florida. I don't know what's over there. I don't know who's over there. I've never been there.
Right.
So the whole situation for me was kind of like scary because I had to pick up my stuff and leave.
So there may have also, if you think about it, could have been a benefit too, because coming the little harder route maybe gives you a better appreciation. It's going to be a better story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way I got here is not the typical way everybody else has gotten here, because I feel like all the other athletes that I've heard or seen that are running good right now, all of them have come from the NCAA system. I mean, everybody has, their story to tell. They got their, little bumps in the road, but I feel like, mine was very, weird.
Yeah.
Because not many people have done what I've done.
Yeah.
And, just the fact that I was able to get out of there and, accomplish my goals, and I'm still trying to accomplish more of my goals, and it's been good. And I always find some things to motivate myself. So, I mean, it was just kind of helping me to work just as hard, 10 times harder, just to, get to the same spot.
So some of the past, though, take a look at your Green Bay Packer fan, right?
Yeah.
Big Aaron Rodgers fan.
I
He's
love
your
Aaron
GOAT,
Rodgers, yeah.
right? How long did he sit on the bench? Right? And not get
4 to 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And may not get an opportunity if they didn't take a chance.
Yeah,
Look at the
exactly.
criticism that the club took for moving Brett Favre out to put Aaron Rodgers in. They took some,
The best thing they did, though.
but at the time,
Yeah, I know.
it
at
may
the
not
time,
have. It was
kinda
gutsy
like,
call.
Okay, what's going on? Yeah.
Right. But somebody had to do the same thing with you, is give you that break, give you that chance,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of times, the message is if you're not making it in all the things that you're trying, don't quit. Look at
you
Kenny.
gotta just keep going, and I mean, something will come around, and there's always going to be opportunities that will appear.
Awesome. It was a perfect way to end. Thank you again for watching another episode of You Must Be Out of Your Mind. Kenny, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to keep following you and working with you. And
Yep.
great things ahead.
Yep.
Take care.
That trauma loop that you were just describing, it's creating a glitch. It's an error message. Post-traumatic stress, all those kinds of things are glitches and error messages.
There are ways for you to be free, whether your life is being impacted with anxiety or with some physical elements that are results of what has happened in your life negatively, like the trauma being kind of stored and coming out through autoimmune disease.